Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Lore and Lullabies. I'm Lana and it's well past time and I am so due for a wrap up. So here are all the books that I read in May. I'm pretty sure this is my first wrap up for the year and it's May. So May was a free month for me. I did not plan a TBR at all and I had so much fun just mood reading the whole entire month. I did have a couple of book club and buddy reads that I did have organized. One of the buddy reads was a off the cuff whim. I read 13 books in May and I read just over 3,700 pages, which is the best that I've read for the month. I'm usually just under 3,500 pages, so I'm pretty stoked with how I went in May. It was a pretty mixed bag of genres as well. I read 2 graphic novels, a horror, a lot of romance, and also fantasy. There was no sci-fi in there this month, so I need to change that. But since starting YouTube, I have noticed that I gravitate more towards fantasy than anything else. So kicking into the books, I read The Cloud Searchers and The Last Council by Kazu Kibuishi. These are graphic novels. They're in the Amulet series, which is really popular. So these are the 3rd and 4th graphic novels in the Amulet series, which I started a couple of months ago and I'm really enjoying it. The graphics are absolutely beautiful and fit so perfectly into the vibe and atmosphere of the story, so I'm really enjoying it. It's really cute. It's a bit predictable. I can't remember her name right now. She inherits an amulet from her uncle and she becomes a keeper of this amulet and it gives her powers. But the stones, well, the amulets are kind of like an entity into themselves. It does have its own voice, and as we're going through we find out there are a lot of other stone keepers as well. They were originally supposed to defend the world and make it like this beautiful place, but one of the stone keepers, the Fae King, turned evil, destroyed everything, and is trying to put everything and everyone under his power, and everyone else is trying to stop that. As I said, I'm really enjoying this series and I gave both of these books 4 stars. I did have a couple of buddy reads in May. The first one was with Chelsea from Chelsea Zhao. I'll put her details down below. We read Trickery by Jamin Eve and Jane Washington. It is a reverse harem. It's set in a fantasy world where there are 2 predominant classes, I guess, or castes. We have the dwellers, who are pretty much the slaves or the servants, and then we also have the souls. And they are like the rich, well-educated people that have a chance at godhood when they die. So they're all sparkly shiny. This is a reread for both of us. We originally read it when it came out and that was in like 2015 maybe. I don't know, but we read it years ago, so we read Trickery again. This is actually the first reverse harem book that I ever read. I really enjoyed it, and buddy reading it with Chelsea was just so much fun, and we have spoken about continuing the series as well. It is now complete, so we can eventually get our way through it by the end of the year or next year or something. It was so much fun reading with Chelsea. If you ever get to do a buddy read with her, do it. The book was really fun. We both enjoyed it and both gave it 4 stars. The second buddy read I did was with Here Booktubes. She is a romance booktuber. Definitely go check out her channel if you don't know of her. She's absolutely lovely. We read The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levin something. I can't remember her name. It's on my phone. So yep. Sorry about the lighting. It's a really overcast day today, and if I don't do this now, I just won't do it. So I'm working with what I've got. Thank you for your understanding. I also read Scratches by Joshua Marcella. Oh my god, this thing creeped me out and disturbed me in so many ways. I believe it was self-published last year and I'm really looking forward to reading the prequel to this in July for the Indie Accords. Holy, when I say it was disturbing, it was disturbing, but I really enjoyed it. I could not put it down. I was so hooked. I had to know what happened. It's a story of a teen boy and his estranged mum. They have a really like awkward almost relationship. They inherit his grandfather's house when he dies. And so they move in there, single mum, obviously, free house, you're gonna take it. Even though she really did not want to go back to that house at all. As you read through, some really creepy, like scratchy noises and things go bump in the night. And it's just, I was captivated the whole time. I read it really quickly. It's only a short book, so you can just power through it. As disturbing as it was, I gave it 4 stars. I cannot wait to read the prequel in July, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. I do also run a book club for the Ball Guns and Books event, which is happening in Sydney in 2023. There are currently 162 authors attending. We have a goal of reading at least one of each of the authors' books before then, so that's about 24 months away. Will we do it? Don't know, but there were 5 picks for that book club this month. The very first month we've done it. I didn't get through the last one, but the other 4 I quite enjoyed. Almost all of the authors that are attending this event are indie or self-published, and I am very pro supporting indie and self-published authors, so it just made sense that my book club would be about this. The first book that I read was Through the Pain by C.A. Renee. It's a high school bully dark romance where we follow Ember, who's this badass MMA fighter. Her mum dies in a fire at the start. That's not a giveaway. That is literally what happens in the very first page. Also, trigger warning with parental death. I know some people don't like that. She moves in with her auntie and uncle and starts going to school for what seems like really rich kids. The pacing was good. The relationships between the main character and her best friend are really good. Sometimes it seemed a bit juvenile, but then I had to remember like they are teenagers. It gets darker towards the end, and from what I hear, it keeps getting darker as the series progresses. I gave this a 3.5 star. I really enjoyed it, and I would like to continue the series just to see where it goes. The next book I read was Thicker Than Water by Becca Seymour. Now, this was my favorite out of all of the book club reads. It's a queer paranormal romance, and it was just so freaking good. It's set in Australia, even though you wouldn't know it. It's only mentioned a couple of times. But the banter between all of the characters was so good, and just even the way he thought was really, really Australian, but in the best and funniest way. And it's actually the first time that Becca has written outside of contemporary romance. I cannot wait to meet her in person and have her sign this book for me, because it was just beautiful and lovely and just everything that I wanted it to be. If you're into male paranormal romance, go and read it. The next book was First Blade by Jane Hinchy. I did enjoy this. This is another paranormal romance with shifters and vampires. It was okay, but it felt very, very rushed for me. It's not one that's going to stick with me, and I'm not really interested to keep going. I'm usually pretty good with things that don't go too in depth with like the character building or world building, but there was just none in this. But it just wasn't enough to really hold me and make me want to read anymore. The last book that was voted on was Rejected by Jamin Eve. This is a rejected mate shifter paranormal romance. I really, really enjoyed this one. I saved it to last because I know Jamin Eve's writing and I really, really enjoy it. She's got lots of sarcasm and banter and the sisterhood that you always have in her books. I just absolutely love. It's a rejected mates, enemies to lovers, shifter paranormal romance. So this one got 4.5 stars. It ended on a really big cliffhanger, so I did have to go and download the next one on my Kindle Unlimited. I'm halfway through that. I probably won't finish it by the end of this month. Don't know if I'll have time for it next month, so I might read that one in July for the Indie Accords as well. I read 2 adult fantasies in May as well, and these were both 5-star reads for me. Amazing. First, I finally got The Bear and Nightingale from the library. It came in, I was so happy, and Evie posted at the same time how much she loves that story. So me being me, I just slid into her DMs and was like, hey, can I give you like a chapter by chapter reaction to what I think of this book? And she said yes, so I did that. And oh my gosh, I have no words. This is going to stick with me. This is quite possibly one of my favorite books of all time, and I cannot wait to get to the next book. The writing is so beautiful and so lyrical, and the atmosphere, the way that it's written, it blew my mind. I don't know what to say about it other than that it is amazing. I still haven't written a review for it because I can't put my thoughts and my feelings into words, and I can't speak about it either, clearly. Maybe when I've finished the trilogy, I'll be able to put all of my thoughts into words, but right now, I can't. The next book that I read was Jade War by Fonda Lee, which is the second book of the Greenbone saga. It was just as good as the first. Again, I couldn't write a review because I have so many feelings, and it was just as good, if not better, than the first. But then, I can't really say a lot about it because spoilers, but Wen is my favorite character. I love in books when there's magic and a non-magical character just makes so many boss moves. Like, it's just good, okay? I feel like I'm just gushing when I don't know what else to do about this book other than gush. The second to last book that I read was Temple of Ice by Christian Kura. This was an e-arc sent to me from the author. Really gave me Avatar Last Airbender vibes with the magic system and how it's all elemental. The pacing and plot were really good. The atmosphere was good. The monsters that were created were written in a way that I could imagine what they looked like, which is always fun. To be able to picture them in your head, for me, is like a must. Otherwise, I'm just like, and I just skip through those parts. There were some points, especially towards the start, where the main character annoyed me. She was a little juvenile for me. It did get better. It is a sapphic YA fantasy. Like, it is YA, so it is quite a light fantasy. It's not that in-depth and heavy with world building and character development. If you like light YA fantasy, say that a few times, and Avatar The Last Airbender, then I definitely recommend giving this one a go. The last book that I read in May was The Merman's Kiss by Tamsin Leigh. I didn't even know that this was on my TBR. I think I got it as a free book off Bookclub or something. I did enjoy this. It was exactly what I expected it to be, just like a nice light-hearted romance. It was a bit insta-lovey for me, even though they're true mates. I still like to see a little bit of angst and pining. It's super short. You can get through it in a couple of hours. How they copulate was quite interesting for me, because obviously he's a merman, like he doesn't have things. So that was interesting to me, because when I got given that book to read, I was like, how is this going to work? How is a romance of a merman supposed to work? But they have ways, and I learnt what those ways were, and now I know. It was a fun, light, fluffy read, and it was pretty good to end my month on. So overall, I had a really, really good reading month. I am definitely going to be doing non-TBR months in future. For the next couple of months, I've got 2 readathons, one of which I am hosting. If you did like this content, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to let me know you're here but don't know what to say, then please drop a purple heart emoji down below. Purple is my favorite color, and that's the first thing that popped into my head. Please do subscribe, hit the notification button. I don't post on a schedule. I post when I post, sometimes a few times a week, sometimes a few times a month. Just depends on what's happening around me. But that's it from me. As always, be kind, live your truth, and read whatever the hell it is you want to. Who doesn't love some sexy man stuff? Is it a genre? I don't know.